Hello team and welcome back to the channel. So before starting the video, this is my channel DevOps Shack and I upload videos every day, so I would request you to subscribe the channel so that you can receive notification for all the videos that I upload. These videos are DevOps related, so if you are interested in DevOps, then you can subscribe to the channel. Okay, now with that being said, let's jump right into the video. So in today's video, what I'm going to show you is a bunch of Jenkins based interview questions, and I will show you demo also so that you can understand the core concept of Jenkins. Okay, and this is the GitHub repository that we are going to use, and this is the main project. So we'll be using this basic project. Okay, I have set up one Jenkins also. It is as of now empty so that I can show you everything afterwards. Okay. Now let's start with the questions that may be asked in your Jenkins interviews. If you are a DevOps engineer, then they are going to definitely ask questions on Jenkins. Okay, so first of all, we have what exactly is Jenkins. So you can define Jenkins to interviewer as it's an open source tool which is used to automate all sorts of tasks like building, deploying, testing, and other related application building related tasks. Okay, but mainly Jenkins is used for CI/CD pipelines, whose basic steps are cloning the repository, then compiling the source code, building the application using source code, performing test cases like unit test cases and others, then performing some security tasks, and then finally deploying the application. So Jenkins is what? Jenkins is an open source tool which is used for automating different DevOps related tasks, mostly for building, testing, and deploying applications. Okay, coming to the next question, which is features of Jenkins. So the main reason that Jenkins is preferred CI/CD tool over other tools is because it can be integrated very easily with other tools like Kubernetes, Docker, then Nexus, SonarQube, and whatnot. Almost every other tool that exists for DevOps can be integrated with Jenkins very easily. Also, Jenkins have almost 1800 plugins. Okay, so these plugins are sort of a way to integrate different tools with Jenkins, and these plugins is one of the reasons that Jenkins is being used on a very vast scope. Okay, also Jenkins support different types of pipelines like freestyle pipeline, Maven based pipeline, declarative, then scripted based pipeline, then we have multi-branch pipeline, and so on. Okay, and again, Jenkins is a CI/CD tool which is very easy to use as well as to automate tasks. The reason for that is that the code for these things can be easily generated in a form of template. Okay, and finally, the main reason for Jenkins usage on a vast level is that it's free to use. It's completely open source. Okay, coming to the next question, which is what exactly is Jenkins file? Okay, so if you know that what is pipeline, then pipeline is a script written with the description and commands that will perform different tasks in Jenkins. Okay, when we copy that code and paste in a specific file and name the file as Jenkins file, then it becomes something we can call as pipeline as a code. Okay, because we have just copy pasted the whole pipeline script in a file and named it as Jenkins file. So this pipeline as a code thing is known as Jenkins file. Okay, and let me show you also how it looks. So if we go back to the repository, you can see there is a file named as Jenkins file. If I open it, you will see it contains the general structure of a pipeline. This is the basic groovy script of a pipeline. Okay, so basically we have just copy pasted it and uploaded this file, Jenkins file, on the repository. This thing is known as Jenkins file. Okay, one thing that you need to know is that it's there is a naming convention specifically for Jenkins file, is that first word will be Jenkins file. After that you can write anything. If you have multiple Jenkins file, you can name it as Jenkins file 1, 2, 3 like that. Okay, so let's come to the next question. What is continuous integration? Okay, so basically continuous integration is a way which will automate this building, testing, and deploying of your application on every commit that is pushed into Git repository or whichever repository you are using. The reason that we need continuous integration is that since there are multiple people working on a project, and each time when a final commit is done, so we want that the application should be built and tested automatically. Okay, so there is a feature in Jenkins known as webhooks. Okay, so when you enable webhooks in Jenkins, what it does, it basically like takes the information that there is a commit done on repository, and when it is informed that commit is completed, as soon as it is informed, it will trigger the pipeline, and pipeline is automatically started, and the application is automatically built, tested, and deployed on like testing server or so. Okay, so continuous integration is like this whole process which lets you automate and lets so many people work on a same project. Okay, coming to next one, we have continuous delivery or continuous deployment. Both stands for CD, CI and CD. So CD is this part. Okay, so CD basically, in short, I can say you that basically once the build process of application is completed, last task that remains is to deploy the application on our server. Okay, so that process is known as continuous delivery and deployment. The difference between delivery and deployment is that like when everything is done and a manual step is required and the application is deployed to your main server manually, like some person is sitting there, some person pressed a button to start the deployment, that is like continuous delivery. But even when the deployment is automated, then it is like continuous deployment. Okay, and no manual effort is needed. Okay, so the basic example you can understand that, let's say we have two pipelines, one is pipeline 1 and second one is pipeline 2. In pipeline 1, we have this deployment script added already in the pipeline. Okay, but for pipeline 2, there are actually two pipelines, where one pipeline will build the application, second pipeline will deploy the application. So the pipeline that is going to deploy the application is like manually handled. So until someone clicks on deployment, until someone's like click on deploy, it won't deploy. So that means a manual step is required. So when manual step is required, manual effort is needed, that is continuous delivery. When everything is automated, it's continuous deployment. Okay, now coming to the next one. Now interviewer may ask like what are the plugins that you have used with Jenkins. So based on like whatever you have used, you can simply mention. For me, it's like these are the most common plugins that I have used. Maven like is a building tool. Then we have Sonar Scanner for performing code quality checks. Then we have Nexus for building and pushing the artifacts to Nexus server. Then we have Kubernetes plugin for like deployment of the application to Kubernetes cluster. Then we have SSH credentials for like storing and using the SSH credentials. Then we have Git. Git is one of the most commonly used plugins, and it is like installed in almost all the Jenkins. Is a way to connect. Git is a plugin in Jenkins which will help you to connect to Git repository. Then we have OS dependency check plugin, which is basically a security tool used for performing scans over your source code. Okay, now coming to the next one. Next we have Jenkins processes. Okay, so like they may ask you what exactly Jenkins process, how it works. Okay, so like mostly we build pipelines in Jenkins, pipelines, or you can say jobs, freestyle job, then Maven job, then pipeline, then multi-branch pipeline. So the whole process, the common step that whole process, how it works, basically when you trigger a pipeline or a job, it will fetch the source code from your repository, create a local copy of it, then as per the command given, it will like compile the source code, then perform unit test cases, then build the application to generate the artifact in the form of jar file or war file. Then it may perform like Docker steps to build and push Docker images, and then it will deploy the application to your deployment server. Okay, so this is the general way in which Jenkins process. Okay, so next we have integrate Git with Jenkins. Okay, so for this I will just show you demo. So I have already set up one Jenkins server. So this is Jenkins, and let me create a new job. So let's say that I want a freestyle job. Okay, freestyle job is the easiest job that one creates. Okay, so job is created. Next you can see there is an option saying source code management. So if I select on Git, it will ask for the URL of the repository you want. Okay, so I can go back to my repository. This is the project that I am using. If I click on clone and copy the URL, simply paste it here, and see there is an option of credentials. The reason that it won't, like, credential won't be needed here, because the source code that I am using is a private public one. Okay, so in case of public one, source code credentials is not required. In case your repository was private, you need to add credentials by clicking here. See, directly clicking here, you can provide your username and password and a little bit of description, and your credentials will be added. Okay, then it is asking for the branch to be used. So in my case, the main branch, like, is named as main only instead of master. So we can just write this, and rest everything we can just let it be. Okay, so this is how you will integrate Git with Jenkins. Okay, coming to the next question, which is how to configure third-party tools in Jenkins. So basically, like, whenever you want to install or add like a tool in Jenkins, what you need to do, you need to install the plugin of that tool. Okay, and then you need to configure that tool in global tool configuration. Okay, so as written here, demo. So let me show you how we can do that. If we go to our Jenkins server, click on manage Jenkins, and here there is an option saying let me dismiss this. Here there is an option saying manage Jenkins. If I click on it, then click on available plugins. Let's say that I want to do code quality checks using SonarQube. So we need to have a SonarQube scanner tool. Okay, so let me install that SonarQube scanner. Yeah, so select this and click on install without restart. If I scroll down, you can see it is in pending state because it is installing now, and once it completes, then I will show you how we can configure it. Okay, so this is completed. Now again we will go to manage Jenkins, then there is an option saying global tool configuration. Okay, so we will click on it, and here either we can scroll down or we can directly search for Sonar. Okay, and then so you can see here SonarQube scanner, which is the tool. This tool is appearing here because, like, we have just installed the plugin. So to configure it, we can click on add SonarQube scanner, provide a name. For example, I can provide the name as Sonar Scanner 1.0, and here you can select the version of the tool and simply click on apply, and the tool is installed. Okay, this is as easy as it seems. Okay, now coming to the next question. So next we have what are the default environmental variables in Jenkins. So basically, when we speak about environmental variables, this is because these variables are already having certain, like, defined value. Okay, for example, when we use somewhere job name with a $sign, that means if you place it somewhere, the output will be the name of the job. Okay, current job where it is, like, used in. Okay, then we have node name. Node name is the slave machine, or like wherever our job is running. Just to show you how it seems, let me go back to Jenkins server. Here, if you see this option, build executor status, you see 1 idle, 2 idle. These are like nodes. As of now, like, no specific VM has been added, but I can say, like, this is the node. Okay, node is basically the slave machine where our jobs are running. Okay, then we have $workspace. Workspace is basically the local folder which contains all the, like, built project source code and output and everything else. Okay, then we have build URL, which is basically the build URL of the current job, and then we have Jenkins_URL, which is the URL of the Jenkins server, and then we have build_ID. Build_ID is basically the number of the specific build that ran. Okay, coming to next one, we have troubleshoot failed builds. Okay, so basically the best way to do troubleshooting, best way to perform troubleshooting for a failed build, we can directly go to check the logs. Then we can, in the logs, we will find whatever the issue is. Just to show you how it works, what I will do, I will just create one job, and let me let's add some stages. I will use this one, invoke top level Maven targets, and we will select the Maven 3 version which I have installed, and we will run the command as clean package. Okay, and apply. So this is done. So what I will do, I will just trigger this now. If I go back here, you can see the job has started, and this might take some time. Okay, so what I'm doing here, I have just started the build and the job is running. After it finishes, I will show you that what exactly we are supposed to do in case of failures. Okay, so let's say that this is the job and we have a successful run as of now. In case we want to see the logs why it failed, we can simply click on the specific build, whichever has failed. Click on this green icon, or red in case it has failed. Scroll down and always start checking for issues from the bottom. Okay, because if you are checking from the top side, then it will take too long. Instead, the best way to start checking the logs is from the bottom. Okay, and from here scroll up slowly, and you will find definitely whatever exactly is the issue. Okay, so in this way, like, you can troubleshoot your Jenkins job whatever has failed, and based on whatever you see in the logs, you can perform the task to fix it. Okay, so next we have multi-branch pipeline. This is one of the most asked questions in interviews. What exactly is a multi-branch pipeline? Okay, so basic thing is that when we are creating pipelines, usually we provide the name of the branch. In case we want that every branch should be having its own pipeline, in that case we use multi-branch pipeline. A best way to make you understand is to show you how it works. Okay, so this is the repository, and if I expand it, you can see there are 3 branches here: main, develop, and feature. If I go back to Jenkins and create a new job here, let me provide the name as CI/CD. Okay, and you can see there are tons of different options to select, but we will select multi-branch pipeline. Click on OK. Okay, now here we need to add the branch sources. So source is get, and repository. For repository, we will provide the URL of the repository, which is this one. Copy this and paste it here. Credentials, none is required, and rest everything we will leave it. See, here it is to discover based on Jenkins file. That means if a branch is having a file known as Jenkins file, then a new job or pipeline will be created for that branch with the branch name. How it works, let me show you. I will click on apply. Okay, configuration saved, and suddenly you see there are 3 jobs created. Okay, with the name of the branch: main branch, feature, and develop. And side by side, if you see here, they have started triggered, they are triggered already for the building of the pipeline. Okay, so this is basically multi-branch pipeline, that when you want to have each pipeline for every single branch, you can use this. The reason that 3 jobs created, because each branch has this file, Jenkins file. In case if one branch was not having this Jenkins file, then there won't be a job created for that specific branch. Okay, and you can see it is in progress, so we will leave it as it is. Coming to the next one, we have how to create declarative pipelines. Okay, this is also in case interviewer is asking for you to create a pipeline, you should definitely go for declarative pipeline instead of scripted. Basically, there are 2 kinds of pipeline script. Pipeline is written in a Groovy script, and there are 2 kinds of pipeline script. One is scripted pipeline, one is declarative pipeline. Scripted pipeline is something that was used in in previous phase, old times. But as of now, most preferred way of writing pipeline is declarative pipelines. So let me show you a demo by creating a sample declarative pipeline. Meanwhile, so let's go on dashboard, and here we will click on new, click on pipeline, and we will select here pipeline option. Click OK. Okay, now scrolling down, see, this is the place where we basically write our pipeline. So since if you are a beginner, you should always go with the sample pipeline, which is the hello world. So this is the basic structure of pipeline. A pipeline is created. Next, what we want to have the first stage, which is get checkout. Okay, and now to like as I said, since we are beginners, so we don't know how to write, so we will select this option, pipeline syntax. We will right click on it, open it in a new page, and here we will select the option git. Okay, and for git URL, again we will copy the URL of the repository and paste it in repository URL. Branch name, as I said, main branch name is main. This we can just check out, and then we can click on generate pipeline script, and this is the whole script for checking out the repository. Copy this and without any hesitation just paste it here. This is done. For the next step, we can just copy this previous step, two brackets, and we can paste it again here. Let's say that we want to have the next step for compilation, so we can provide the name as compile, and then we will delete this. Also, when you want to run shell commands, you need to write it in this format as such, double quotes, mvn clean compile. Okay, now since it might not be able to figure out from where mvn is coming, so basically what I will do, I will define the Maven tool. Okay, if I open my Jenkins file, you can see here the way to define a tool is by using tools option. Okay, and click here, and you can see tools. The format is the type of tool, which is JDK and Maven in my case, and the name of tool. In case you are wondering from where these names are coming, that also let me just show you directly. If I go to manage Jenkins, go to global tool configuration, whatever tools you have installed, it will be visible in global tool configuration. In JDK, if I expand it, you can see the name is JDK 11. If I scroll down to Maven installation, name is Maven 3. Okay, so now you know from where it is coming. Okay, so this is done. Let's say we want to add one more stage, which is to perform build the application, and we will provide the name as build, and instead of compile, this time we will run the command as package, and this is what, and this is done. Okay, this is the basic pipeline that you can show to someone that okay, this is how a basic pipeline is written. Then now we will apply it. Go to pipeline and build now. Now the build will start, so we can monitor it, and you can see the first step, which was git checkout, which is to create a local copy of the repository, was successful. Then compile stage was also successful, and final stage is to build the artifact, so that we can check the progress in logs, and yeah, you can see it is progressing ahead. In the meanwhile, it will finish. Yeah, so success, and we can see the artifact jar file is generated and kept inside the target folder. Okay, so this is the basic way to create a declarative pipeline. Okay, coming to the next question, we have how to install a custom plugin. So basically, the plugins of Jenkins have an extension of .hpi. So whichever plugin you want to install, you can download the HPI version of that, and then you can add in plugins. So let me show you that as well. If I go to DevOps CI/CD repository, you can see here there is a one plugin, Kubernetes CD plugin. So I will click on it to download it, and let's download it. Yeah, so it is downloading. The size is 15 MB. So in case you want to know how to install it, again we will go to manage Jenkins, then manage plugins, and here you can see one option saying advanced settings. Okay, scroll down, and here it is saying deploy plugin. So here we will choose the plugin whose extension is .hpi. We will select it, click open, and deploy. And if I scroll down, you can see it has started installing the plugin that we have added just now. Okay, so let it be, it might take some time. Okay, so okay, it is successful also. Now you know how to install a plugin outside that is not visible in Jenkins. Okay, coming to the next question, and this is the last question. So what are the general steps in Jenkins pipeline? Okay, so if you are a beginner at Jenkins, you should know main stages are build, test, and deploy. But in case if you have worked a lot of quite some time with Jenkins, then you will be knowing that the General steps in Jenkins pipeline goes like this. So first we will check out the repository in our local system. Then we will perform compilation of the code for like any like a syntactic error. Then we will perform unit test cases. We will run unit test cases. Then we will perform security scanning and code quality checks using SonarQube, OWASP dependency check, and Trivy and other tools. Finally, we will build the application and create jar file and push it to Nexus, and then we will use Docker to build Docker image and push it to Docker repository or any like private repository, whichever we are using. And finally, we will perform the deployment of application using Kubernetes. Okay. So I hope this video was useful for you. Also, like as said earlier, also this is my channel. If you found this video useful and you want more videos like this, you should subscribe to the channel. And that's all for today. So thanks for watching.